Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, listeners. It's me, Suleiman Ben Sware, coming back on Facebook Live on the Open Gambia platform. If you just bear me a minute, let me share this video and we can start this program. Lamin, if you can hear me loud and clear, just make a comment for me. Let me know whilst I share this video. Okay, thank you very much. Today is the 25th of September 2024. The time is just gone 21 minutes past 3 in the afternoon in Birmingham. I will try to keep this brief because I need to go out of this house very soon. And we are taking on the jar oil. If you just bear a minute. Sorry about that. There was someone at the door. Thank you very much, Lavin. Yeah, we are taking on the jar oil media propaganda and about this controversial 50 million BADEA loan. And it's very important to take on this propaganda because it's sad that people with money and access to power can easily muscle the press, can easily manipulate the press, and with those false narrative, it end up them believing that they get away with it, which cannot be the case, because history will always, the truth will always prevail. We are in the process of making history, and it's sad that many Gambians, especially people claiming to be educated Gambians, will fall for cheap propaganda. And it have got to a level that this government and the cabal around this government believe that once they can muscle most part of the press in many ways, by giving advertisement or behind the scenes agreements and whatever it is, they can they control the narrative, which the reason why we are here, to make sure we challenge them and base it on evidence. We expect educated Gambians to be critical, to able to challenge some of this narrative with facts for the benefit of the greater good. But it's just unfortunate because I have seen comments, from people I expect better. When Jael went for Jael representative Ahmadiyya and Hyderabad went to West Coast Radio with Peter Gomez for a soft interview, which very sounds like a PR, sounds like a very like a PR contract. We will play that interview. We will play that interview. Well, let's start from here. What we are going to present here would be based on document evidence from BADEA, between BADEA and Gambia government, a contract between BADEA and Gambia government. This is what we're going to read out to you for most of, people to make up their mind. But we are going to put our own, we're going to analyze it to make it very relevant to what is going on. Because from the beginning, the loan was signed around April, but around March or so, the Ahmadiyya came out in the press again with a very soft interview with Pandeli Touré in the Gambia. The audio was going around, and the claims that Ahmadiyya made was that 50 million was given to him because he was the only eligible. This is the same thing they putting up about, and he was not favored or anything, and the investment was for agriculture, and he dived into his agriculture investment. This is what we were sold, but now they have moved away from that for obvious reasons, because as keep on scrutinizing them, they have to sift to give out answers that suits them, but not to give out facts. You see, if the facts were given out by government for what they have presented to the people, to the business, to the private sector, we would not have had this problem. But what they did, this is why we are going to talk about facts we know based on the contract between Gambia government and BADEA. Then we question why Gambia government drew out an agreement which only fits to suit one person. Draw out an agreement that will only suit one person. Because if we go through, when we go through the BADEA agreement with Gambia government, it gives Gambia government to be critical with the loan, and there's nothing to stop them structuring the loan to make sure other Gambians have access to this loan, but they deliberately structure it this way in order to give it to one person. This is one of the strategies that they apply. Let me start, hence I want to keep it brief. Let me go on straight to the document. If you just bear me a minute, it's on a very small writing. I'll try and blow it up. Okay. Let me start with the line of credit agreement between BADEA, the Arab Bank for Economic Development in Africa, which is an international financial institution established, and they have an office run from Sudan. And this agreement is between BADEA and the government of the Gambia, represented by the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, which is the ministry manned by the Minister of Finance, Sidiketa. Now, the preamble of this article of contract is they said whereas the Gambia government has requested BADEA to provide a revolving trade finance facility of an amount not exceeding 50 million US dollars. Revolving loan, trade loan not exceeding $50 million. For what reason? To be used exclusively to finance importation of petroleum products, food, other essential commodities from African and Arab countries. Exclusively for our basic needs. And let me just remind you that cement would will qualify as a basic need, just as petroleum, food, cement would be part of that, and I believe medication should be part of that as well. BADEA, it reads that whereas BADEA has agreed in considering foregoing the representative promise, conveyance, and other provisions hereby contained to extend the line of credit to the Gambia government according to the terms and conditions hereat. Now, this is what the loan is about. BADEA, an institution, Arabic African financial institution, that Gambia government went to seek for a credit line. It's not a revolving loan. It's not like asking for 50 million and 50 million be given to you. We will get into that. Now, we go on to the other area, which deals with the interest payments. If when Gambia government accessed this credit line, there were interests that needed to be paid, or for facilitating the loan and to guarantee the interest of the loan. It reads that the Gambia government shall pay interest on the on the interest payments due to BADEA on the amount disbursed and outstanding from time to time during each interest period at the 3 months term agreed for the floor, zero floor, 3% per annum. This is, they only pay the interest on what they have taken, because the 50 million is accessible, but it's not gonna given in one go. It continued to say that the interest shall occur on a daily basis and shall be payable at quarterly intervals on each interest payment date. If an interest period will be otherwise end on a day which is not a business day, that interest period shall instead end on the next succeeding business day. Interest shall then be calculated up to and including that next succeeding business day. The interest would be facility interest, facility fee. The Gambia government shall pay a non-refundable facility fee of 1% of the financial facility amount to be paid to BADEA upon approval of the facility by BADEA Board of Directors and upon renewal of the facility. 1% facility interest, 1% will be paid as interest for facilitating the loan. The appraisal fee. The Gambia government shall pay a non-refundable appraisal fee of 0.5% of the facilitated amount as a one-off to be paid to BADEA before or upon signing this agreement. The commitment fee. The Gambia government shall pay a commitment fee at the rate of 0.5% per annum on this boss portion of the facilitated amount, which shall begin to commence 180 days from the date of signing this agreement. Then the other one is the legal fee. The Gambia government shall pay a non-refundable legal fee of $20,000 upon signing the agreement. It continued to say, computation and interest and fees. Interest and fees for the facility shall be computed on a daily basis, and for this purpose, each year shall be considered consistent of 360 days annually. Then the repayment of principals. The Gambia government shall repay each drawn amount of the facility within 120 days, to be calculated from the first day of the month following each withdrawal, and accordance with such schedule as will thereafter be provided to the Gambia government by BADEA. All such payments shall be transferred without any delay for whatever reason on the payment date specified in such schedule to BADEA bank account at BADEA, as BADEA shall from time to time delegate. Again, it's showing clearly that this would be disbursed in trend, and the payments will be made, then before another trend will be disbursed, decided agreements. It's important to note on this because any agreement that Gambia government will have with the private sector, or which end up to being only one person, would be based on this agreement here. What I mean is, it will be mirroring this agreement, because of Gambia government will be considering this agreement into writing a contract with the private sector. This agreement is not directly transferred to the private sector, but Gambia government will make adjustments where it fits to guarantee receiving the money and to make sure the loan facility is sustained. They talk about late payments, penalty for late payments, and payment in currency, which would be in dollars. Let's move from that. That's the plain side here. Then the very important point to note here, this article of disbursement procedure, how the money would be disbursed. Is because there have been confusion, because as I said, the clarity was not provided on how much. We have seen reports from the standards saying that Ahmadiyya or Jah Oil have returned the 50 million, which is completely untrue. And I think, I believe if we play the interview with West Coast Radio, it seems Jah Oil is insinuating that narrative as well. But the Point newspaper have got it right. What Jah Oil repaid was the first trend, which is $20 million. It's not $50 million. And it will be interesting to note when the loan was taken, because we haven't seen the contract from Gambia government, but we know that this agreement was drafted from March 2023, about April. By May, disbursement would have been done. Now, it says in the agreement between Gambia government and BADEA that the process of this of the facility shall be dispersed in three trends as follow. 1, $20 million upon satisfying the pre-withdrawal conditions set out in Article 5. $20 million would be the first available amount meant to be engaged. Then The second trend would be $15 million, which shall be available after 3 months of disbursement of the first trend and unfinished furnishing to BADEA the supporting documents for utilizing at least 80% of the first trend. The second trend would be 15 million. The first was 20 million. The second will be 15 million, and the third will be 15 million as well. That makes it 50 million. But you realize that whenever they dispose a trend, it will take about 3 months for the money to be returned with the interest payments and everything, and to satisfy the condition by showing proof of what they have agreed before another trend would be accessed. The next trend will be accessed, then the other trend will be accepted as a revolving kind of loan. Now, interesting to know, it says the Gambia government shall request disbursement by delivering to BADEA a disbursement request in the form of forms provided in Annex 1, supported by the relevant documents where applicable, at least 10 business days prior to the proposed date of disbursement. This is the agreement that Gambia government will have to send supporting documents 10 days before. Upon receival of this request, requested amount, the Gambia government shall notify BADEA by disbursement receipts, noting in the form provided in Annex 2, disbursement shall be made to the account that the Gambia government designated in the disbursement request. And finally, on that agreement, the supporting documents stipulated in section 4.02 of this agreement will include, but not limited to, the following. What they would request is full description of each transaction, including the name of the imported commodity, the cost of the commodity, country of origin of the commodity, and names and nationality of the suppliers. This is to make sure that Gambia governments keep with the agreement. B, payment arrangement of the transactions and the related documents. C, mode of disbursement request for the transaction, direct transfer to the supplier or reimbursement where applicable. This is to protect their funding. Now, what we realize here is this is the main article of agreement that binds Gambia government with BADEA to access a credit line of up to 50 million, which would be disbursed in 3 tranches. First trend will be 20 million, second will be 15, and the third will be 15. On condition that once the 20 million is received, the Gambia government complied with the agreement to supply all the supporting documents and final payment made before they can access the second, and that follows to access the third. Now, it's very clear from this agreement that BADEA did not put any restraint on or direct Gambia government on how they are to dispose this loan. BADEA did not force Gambia government or hold Gambia government to contract that this loan can only be given to one person as a bulk of the first trend going to one person. No. Gambia government has the liberty to restructure. The 20 million goes to Gambia government. The agreement is between BADEA and Gambia government. Now it's for Gambia government to draw an agreement between themselves and the Gambia private sector. For what? For the purpose of the loan. And the purpose of the loan is different commodities. It's not one commodity, but it's for essential commodities. And what we term as essential commodities, common sense, petrol, food, medication, and cement will be termed as commodity, essential commodity. And why I am pointing on cement, it's very relevant on here. This is why we're saying that there's evidence that these things are structured in a way that it suits one person and to make sure it pays. Now, this loan, once this loan is given, it takes about 3 months to be repaid because it's a credit line for people importing these commodities, and they pay. Gambia government, what we know, we haven't seen the agreement, what the finance minister have said, what the trade minister have said, that what they have applied, because we haven't seen the contract, what they have applied from that contract is there's a non-refundable fee, just as they have agreement non-refundable fee with BADEA. But the interesting point is they just placed the 20 million to be accessed. They did not structure it in a way that can be accessed in different portfolio. There'll be a 5 million, there'll be a 4 million, or whatever it is, to ask people to apply for it and to meet the conditions. Because if it was restructured, 5 million, and for the 1% interest, non-refundable interest, would be affordable by many Gambian importers. Just as they go to the banks to apply for this, they will be able to access this. But if you put it at 20 million, technically you are denying other Gambian importers to access it, because most probably they don't need the 20 million because of the business they are in. They don't need 20 million to these things, and within 120 days to be repaid. But most probably the business they are in can take in 5 million to import rice, sugar, oil, or petrol, and to be paid within 20 days. Then why did Gambia government not restructure to make sure that many Gambians can access it? This is the reason we said that Jar Oil was favored. And again, listen to this. Why you might ask the question, if Jar Oil can access it, 20 million, why not others? Look, capacity are different. And Gambian economy is very small. To do business within 120 days and strong. For some person to be given 20 million is a higher risk than spending it. And the Gambia government, the finance minister said no, because if we, this thing would be more riskier. No. The same guarantee. You see, the same guaranteed demand for 20 million is the similar guaranteed demand for 5 million. Because now, if I am going to give you, this was a loan for 5 million, you will have to produce the guarantee for 5 million. And many people would, many importers could have provided this amount. But what did they do for Jar Oil? It's not coincidence that the time Jar Oil was accessing this loan, they brought out a cement embargo to the extent of threatening our trade relationship with Senegal. This is why they created the trade embargo, in order to give Jar Oil. That's why we want to know where did Jar Oil actually invested the 20 million. Where? They created this the cement embargo to give Jar Oil a greater access to the markets, and creating a monopoly. Don't hear about the Salam Oil Cement, and those companies have a smaller percentage of access to the market. Jar Oil is the dominant. Now, if you restrict the importation from overland, you are creating a bigger market for Jar Oil, and Jar Oil can sell more cement because he's selling inferior cement to this, compared to the Senegalese cement. People would have been buying the Senegalese cement more than the Jar Oil. Then it will take longer for Jar Oil to make the profits and in order to service this loan. Jar Oil was favored to be given this loan because of they created an environment that Jar Oil will able to do it. Rather than Gambia government creating an environment so that many Gambian businesses can access the loan and perform. And again, this is, if have done right, the loan would have impacted positively. But what they did is monopolize it for one person, and the impact would be on that person more than it would have far-reaching effect on to the Gambian economy or people. And we'll get to the reason why that will be done. We know Jar Oil finances NPP. He's part of the finance of NPP. But I can tell you, and we'll get to that when I am replying to Jar Oil's assassin, that Barrow doesn't have a partnership with him. We'll get to that point. But in this point here, as is clear as said, this is why they brought that embargo on the cement. If you remember, this agreement is no coincidence. This agreement was drafted around March, April, and the cement embargo came at the same time to benefit Jar Oil. Now, importers of cement from overland now are forced to pay $180 or so. That's a 500% increase. That's creating a monopoly. 500% increase on the listing of that local production. We don't produce cement. Not an ounce of cement is produced in the Gambia. Everything is imported. Every cement is imported to the Gambia. Not an ounce we produce. Show me the mines. Show me the cement mines anywhere in the Gambia. Point at any cement mine in the Gambia and say, oh, this is where we mine our cement. Show me. Bring the evidence. It's a lie. We don't manufacture. We all see the importation of cement. Now, this is how they, one, instead of creating an environment where many businesses, now, if for instance, why do I say that? If it was, an environment was created where many Gambians, business, and not, this is not actually Gambians, this is businesses registered in the Gambia, part of the Gambia private sector. From the private sector can access it. Now, if you have 10 Gambians to access the fourth strand, remember again, it's the fourth strand. It's not the entire 50 million you have access to. The fourth strand is 20 million. If Jar Oil said he returned 50 million, that's not true. I've read the contract. The 20 million, if they had access, 10 businesses in the Gambia have access to the 20 million. Now, one Gambian, let's say 3 Gambians import rice. One Gambian import oil. The other Gambian import sugar. The other Gambian, 2 Gambians import petrol. The 3 Gambians import medicine. Or other food commodities that we import. This would have been better. But the reason is, show me the impact. Rice prices have not gone down, oil price did not go down, cement price did not go down. What? We never had problems with availability of commodities. We have problems with the price of commodities. Then what was the point of the loan? And if the loan was done differently, because it would have created competition. You have more people import rice, it will force them to try to sell, and the prices will be impacted. But if you have one person given 20 million, that person monopolizes a market of the cement He might take the 20 million and even put it to something else. But because of he's got an existing this thing, the 20 million probably he imported petrol, he imported other things. But what they created here is the cement market to able to have money as far as possible, because 20 million is not easy to refinance. 20 million in the Gambian market is not easy to refinance. It's not because of he's a better businessman, because he's favored. Because the monopoly of the cement, if that was not created for him, he would have trouble. Then it's for us Gambians not just to take the statements from these people, but let us be critical. I've read the document, the contract between BADEA and the Gambia government. Let Gambia government, these are the questions the MP should ask. To say that if we restructure it, that's not true. BADEA did not restrict you to restructure your loan. Once you get the loan, their agreement is clear, how they want their money back. Now, this agreement here is saying that if we put it in a smaller lot, will be more riskier. That's not true. Putting it smaller lot, you are still using the same measure to guarantee the loan repayment. If you give 20 million and expect a guarantor for 20 million, obviously, if you give 5 million, you expect the guarantor for 5 million. And if you calculate an interest for 20 million, it wouldn't work out the same thing if you restructure it and ask for 3% of 5 million. If you ask 3% of 20 million and 3% of 5 million, would come out the same interest. Then what motivated the Gambia government was not that if they restructure it, it would not be the same. In fact, restructuring it would have better, because it would impact creating a competitive environment and creating more Gambians to do this importation. But they created this for Jar Oil alone, and we know why. Now, let me answer that bit. I'll deal with it again. And before I play the Jar Oil interview. Now, why did I say Jar Oil was favored? I explained that those are facts. It's not a coincidence that the loan, around time this was the loan, Gambia government went to the extent of creating a trade conflict between Senegal to increase cement to 50%, which benefits Jar Oil, creating monopoly for Jar Oil, and with the pretense that they are doing it for domestic production. We don't produce cement. It's only hurting the consumer. Jar Oil is importing inferior cement, and when a Gambian dare come out to put it to the test, and the cement become drier or not not effective as it is, that Gambian made a Facebook Live. A private consumer decided to say, I bought this product, but it's not good compared to the other product I used to buy, which was the cement imported from Senegal. He was arrested. Why was he arrested? He did not commit a crime. What tells you that because of Jar Oil is cahoots with the government. That's why he was arrested. And the same Jar Oil put that pressure on this young guy to come and make a disclaimer and to turn around to say that, oh, he have hired that man, young guy, to promote his cement. What sort of person would do that? What a credible business person would do that? Just as the way he manipulates, giving advertisement to individuals, giving advertisement for platforms, giving advertisements to journalists and other things we don't know, we might not even know, to give him soft interviews. To give him soft interviews. That's why we are actually countering this soft interview. Now, the other part is here. We definitely know that he sponsored NPP. We know that. He cannot deny that. But let me tell you something. Why do I keep on emphasizing that Jar Oil, Barrow had interest in Jar Oil, whether a silent partner or whatever it is, but have interest in expanding Jar Oil. This is what happened. The Janneh Commission recommended that the share of Mohamed Basi in Gum Petroleum to be given back to Gum Petroleum because of Mohamed Basi business practice he was doing with Gum Petroleum. He defrauded Gum Petroleum. Gum Petroleum is a limited company. That's where it's structured. But technically, Gum Petroleum is a parastatal, technically, because the shareholders of Gum Petroleum are parastatals until Barrow sold Mohamed Basi's share to a private foreign investor. The owners of Gum Petroleum, when Janneh Commission seized Mohamed Basi's, became Social Security, Gambia Ports Authority, and GNPC. Mohamed Basi's one was taken back. Then those shares needed to be, resold. Mohamed Manjang was the then managing director of Social Security, and they had bigger shares, and he was the chairman of Gum Petroleum. His advice was the board agreed that the shares that are owned by Gum Petroleum should be shared or open for the existing shareholders to buy them. Logical. And then it will stay with the existing shareholders, which is technically government. Adama Barrow went against that advice with his finance minister then Mamboure Njie. They contracted people behind the scenes in order to sell the shares to a Mauritanian company. And those shares were sold to a Mauritanian company. The Mauritanian company, about 2018, 2019, I forgot the date, the agreement they have with Barrow, President Barrow, was a kickback. And obviously that was the reason, that was the motivation for Barrow to recommend a foreign Mauritanian company to buy those shares, not to give it to existing as advised by the board of directors, the chairman and the board of directors, because of his interest. What does this have to do with Jar Oil? When Barrow received that money was invested into Jar Oil. How do I know this? The same time that money was invested in Jar Oil, two things happened. Fatoumata Barrow, the first lady, became a board member of Jar Oil. They won't deny that. If they deny that, I won't be surprised, because they lie about anything. But this is a fact, as I know. At the time, Fatoumata Barrow was, herself have been boasting about being a board member. Boasting about being a board member, have witness to that. Herself telling people that she's a board member. Cannot be denied. The only time someone becomes a board member of a limited company or wherever is because of two things. They have the requisite knowledge, experience of that operation of that business or organization, or they are shareholders of that organization. And we all know that Fatoumata Barrow, no disrespect, doesn't have the knowledge, doesn't have the experience to be a board member of any serious entity, especially a commercial one. Then the only possibility is because of she was, or the family are shareholders to that investment. The third observation here is, go and look at the expansion of Jar Oil from 2018. We had Ahmadiyya himself talk about how he started in 1990, from 1993, whatever, selling bowls, selling petrol in cans, or whatever it is. But again, just go and see what happened from 2018. I can tell you that money did not come from Gambian banks that he expanded his business with. No Gambian bank, no businessman will go to the Gambian banks and take that amount of money for expansion, because if you do it, you will go down because of the interest rates. Because of the interest rates, and not only interest rate, most of these loans, again, you have non-disclosure fees that you have to do, a kickback, even to access them. That's a fact. We saw the expansion that cannot be explained. How can we explain? And for BADEA Oil to say that, oh, it's not favored by government, he builds wherever he wants. He does whatever he wants. Just as a private citizen was arrested for saying that I'm not satisfied with your product. Now, let's move to the interview itself. Try to be quick with this. Time is going. Then, this is an interview. Amadija.
What do you think is the reason for all the uproar about the $50 million BADEA?
This is the interview at West Coast Radio with Peter Gomez, Amadija, and Haidara. Haidara, for the record, joined BADEA Oil later. He was an NIA operative up to the point of director or deputy, I think, deputy director general or director general itself. He was at the TRRC. We heard about all the things, shenanigans he's been involved in. Now, that's his CEO. They are doing the interview with Peter Gomez. Just for clarity, you can hear that.
Loan. Tell me about that. The army no more okay, I will just say a little bit. Not me. Parce que yéen nga xamné jur na ciow bu rëy ci dina ci wax dara waye lima ci bëggal sotti tuuti rek moy né gis nga BADEA loan bi buñ ko jëlé won lu nekk lañ ci wax. These people have been favored, invite on one nini, and even some of those people saying, I can swear to Allah, we were sitting in the same big hall with them when they were reading the terms and conditions to us. And when I left that room, when I met with some of them in the streets, they were asking me that, how do you think we can come together so that we can access this, because we cannot meet these conditions. They are too tough. We don't have such a collateral. We don't have such a money to pay that 48 million down payment. And I said, well, if you have an idea, very realistic idea, you can come, we can discuss. But none of them were able to come with a realistic idea. What they call realistic is not realistic enough. For example, you want us to go and put our collaterals and put our deposit, and once we access it, then we dish you 3 million or 5 million. Nobody in his right mind will do that. If you fail, it is our collateral that has been attached. So nobody's going to do that. So because of that, people decided, now let us make a noise. Let him not enjoy it. And that is when all these conditions were not met. The money, it was left for a few days before it expires, because it was sitting, 1 week exactly to be precise. But it was sitting here waiting for the right people to sign it. Nobody signs it. And BADEA was pressuring government, tell them, look, we need to expedite this because the time is going. If it passes the time, we have no choice, but we have to take it back. And government did not want the money to go back. They don't want it to go back because it's not good for the reputation of the country. It's just that your credit rating will drop. For example, if they return it, other banks...
Let me put clarity in this. Some of the things he said that I was not present, I can even dare to say that he might be fabricating them, because we know that he's not a credible person. We know that he's not a credible person. He have testified in the TRRC, and we have seen the dubious things he's been involved in. That's what he is. Now, you see, the way they put this out, to tarnish the people that came out to hold them accountable, is this. What Gambia government does, example on this, is this ID cards. The people that claim that they did not know about it. And you know, he said, oh, it was the last minute, the loan was almost period. That's a lie. What they do is the private knowledge. The minute they are structuring this loan, they have Ahmadiyya in mind. Now, how do we justify this? The rest of the thing is just a formality. The loan is already designed for Ahmadiyya. Now, they will do the behind the scenes, and I can tell you, the day the Barrow government leaves, any commission, you will hear the people that were there will come out, then, yeah, this is the way it went. They did this behind the scenes, brought everything to suit one person. Again, as I explained, the agreement between BADEA and Gambia government did not restrict Gambia government to and it was Gambia government, should be Gambia government job or interest to make sure this loan is accessible, to create an environment, an enabling environment, not to restrict it to 20 million, the 20 million to go to one person. It's not wise. Because that one person cannot even consume that 20 million in 120 days and repay it. I can tell you that. Go and ask any accountant or a business person in the Gambia will tell you, no. That's why they created the cement monopoly, for him to access the 20 million and repay. It was for the Gambia government to create an environment where other Gambians can access 3 million or 5 million with the same guarantee. Now he's saying that some people meet him saying that this, look, if any businessman approach you, yeah, they might tell you, they will give you a proposal. You might not accept it. But that it should not have been that way. If the Gambia government have done the right thing, that person would not have approached you to build a consortium. That's why I said I wasn't there. Probably he's misrepresenting this thing. He should have named the people that he spoke to. It's a consortium idea. It's a consortium idea. Consortium ideas doesn't mean that you take the entire responsibility. No. It's a share base. People are not stupid. Consortiums are created all the time. There are templates all over the place. What I will put in this, you put in that. They'll have collateral themselves. You build a consortium, and the consortium with the moment of understanding and everything, agreement and contract will be tendered as the consortium applying for the loan. They don't need to. The Gambia government should have ensured either to ask Gambians to build consortiums, or they restructure the loan so the Gambian can access it. This is what should have happened. But he is presented it as something else. And the other thing to say that the loan period was expiring. That's a lie. And would be negative for Gambia credit rating. This is the stupidest thing can be ever said. Now, if you come to me, if I come to you, the Gambia government went and asked for a credit line. Look, this is not a loan that already, it's a credit line that you can access. Where IMF do create the same things. It's here sitting down, and these are the conditions. And I've read the conditions. These are the interest you pay if you don't access it or whatever it is. Now, if because of you fail to access it doesn't mean that you are a bad person. Even it can be said that you are very prudent. You looked at it and it wasn't prudent enough, and you stayed back. That doesn't mean that when you are reassessed again, you are being seen in a bad light. No. When you are reassessed again, that will take into consideration and not be taken in a bad light. And in fact, what they assess is your present, what you have presented. It will be returned. Return where? This is not money being brought to Gambia and put in the bank. No. These are electronically dealt with. to be paid into accounts when you demand it. If Gambia government have demanded the 20 million to their accounts and start renegotiating, then it's the inefficiency or the incompetency of Gambia government. Gambia government should have worked all the formulas ready. Then demand the loan and it disposed. That's why I mean, look, I am about to go to work, but if we let these people keep on saying this and nobody challenge them, they believe that they man these things, but not in my name. If Gambians would believe these buffoons, I mean, no insults, because of this Haidara, he's the one, in fact, I mean, I don't know why Mohammed Ahmadiyya thinks that Haidara is a good candidate to work with. Let's move on.
Banks in the future, when they want to lend the Gambia 100 million for private sector, they will look into the past records of such kind of scheme. If they see that 50 million they cannot handle, how can you talk about 100 million? True. So it's not good for our credit rating, it's not good for our reputation. So Preso came, then Mr. Jha, I remember vividly, he was saying that if you don't take this, it's good for the country will lose it. And when the country loses it, some good things might come in the future. For us, will not be. So for him, it was not. No, it's profit. No, it was about the country. Okay. He did it for the country. So that is when he said, okay, if nobody is coming forward, I will take it so that we don't lose it as a country.
I am disappointed with Peter Gomez too. You see, this is what I'm saying. This is a soft interview. How can Peter Gomez, I mean, say, oh, then for him, this was not for profit? He is a businessman. He is in business for profit. This is not for country. He created a monopoly in the cement sector in order for him to access this 20 million, so that they would make more profit and President Barrow will have share of that profit. That's common sense. We should not limit ourselves. And I hope Peter Gomez is not, having contracts with Jha, because that will conflict of interest. Let him declare it. How can he insinuate, oh, then it was not for profit, it's for country? What country? What country? It's not true. It's not true. Gambia government could have restructured this and handled it right. They deliberately put it in this way so that, and make sure that even the disclosure, the time they disclosed to other these things, it was too late for anybody else to do anything. Or no Gambians can even go for 20 million. No Gambian businessman would have gone for 20 million to be paid back on 120 days. 120, no. They would not have done that. Unless you create a monopoly for them. That's why Barrow created a monopoly on the cement. Let's move.
We don't lose it as a country. So that is when they said, okay, let's do it quickly. First thing first, do you have the 48 million down payment? Yes, the transfer was initiated. We signed all the necessary documents. Do you have the collateral? Yes, we brought them the collateral. They made the assessment. They realized that yes, it was it when you put all the assets and the businesses together. You know, it was even it tips up a little bit above. Then they said, fine, this is what we want. We signed legal documents to that. What is called a debenture and everything. And then they dished out the first tranche. People started making noise. This was the 20. That was the 20 million.
First tranche, 20 million. First tranche, 20 million. Now, the agreement started around March, April, May. 20 million. Now, it's not 50 million. Again, this is very clear now. They're admitting it. First fund 20 million. That's what for the 48 million. And as I said, if the 20 million was spread across, then that person would not have needed 48 million.
Also, all kinds of things. Then, fortunately, it is coming by trans. When the 20 million was finished, the second trans and the third trans is behind, 30 million. Then we settled the 20 million first to them.
Oh, you paid it off already?
We paid it everything with all the attachments to it. And then we told government, people making noise, give it back to them. Let us give them a chance.
So government has its 50 million back?
Yes.
Or BADEA has it back?
BADEA has it back. So now...
What does Peter don't understand? I mean, it's not 50 million. The 50 million is a credit line. Government did not have the 50 million. Government accessed first tranche 20 million, and they returned the 20 million. Let it not be confusion. Now, for him to say that, oh, now we said, look, what's the difference between 15 and 20 million, 5 million? It's still, it's not feasible, it's not right. Government, if government wants to make it right, is to break it down so that people can take it and repay it, and people can qualify for it. But they make it impossible for people to qualify. That's what they say. But Peter would not touch that. Peter would not go there because this is a PR. It's a PR. Peter would not touch that. It's a soft interview. Peter knows there's no 50 million involved. 50 million is the credit line. The first tranche, he said. Now, second tranche, third tranche, 15 million each. I read it from the article, from the contract between BADEA and Gambia government. Does it mean that Gambia government would give a bulk? BADEA did not tell them that 15 million will have to go to one business person. No. No. That's up to Gambia government how they dispose it.
Now, this is why we said to Minister of Trade and Finance, and I was call people who are making all this noise. Maybe they can also benefit from it. For us, we're done. We don't want it. So this is what happened with that 50 million. And now, since it is announced, it's like 2 months. The first day they called, it was a full room. Almost 50 people reported showing interest. But by the time they finished reading the conditions and terms, half of the room left. By the time the meeting is over, it is only few people left. Some shameless people were sitting there. Actually, I had, when you in this country, people always hear what people say in the corners. That, instead of focusing on what brought them there, how you can actually utilize this phone, properly and pay it properly, you start attacking an individual saying, Jawel this, Jawel that, Jawel. We know.
What were they saying about Jawel?
Some individuals were saying, Jawel shouldn't have been given this, it was not properly done. And then that person saying that was in the room with us when these terms and conditions were built. And then he ran away. He never showed up in the second or third meeting. But he's the one making the biggest noise. And then, unfortunately, when you have some of our lawmakers also making a big fuss about this thing. So I will tell you, this was a big thing. Some of these lawmakers were even lobbying for certain businessmen. We know them. This is why when adding all these things together.
Do you think this was why the Minister of Finance was literally harassed in the National Assembly over this BADEA law?
He personally,
I'm disappointed with Peter again. Why Peter would say that the members of parliament were harassing the Minister of Finance. I mean, that's what they're there for, Peter. I am disappointed. That's why you see, the interview and everything is staged as a PR. For him to say that people observe, what people have observed, and I've said it here, that the loan should be restructured. Because of Jar Oil got favored because they created a monopoly for a major commodity. Jar Oil was selling, which is cement, in order for Jar Oil to be able to access that loan and repay it within 120 days for 20 million. That 20 million should have been restructured so that many Gambians can access it. That would have been more productive. That would have been more positively impacting this thing, because it would create the productivity. Competition and prices can be affected. Tell us what have the Gambia realized in this? After accessing this money, the balance is still depreciating. Inflation is still going up. What have you achieved? Because it's not structured right. Competition is not answered. 4 Gambians, 5 Gambians could have different source of importing rice, and others import this, order that. 5 million could have done a lot each. At least 4 different companies could have ordered different things: petrol, rice, sugar, or whatever, medicine. But no. Let's continue.
I'm sure he must have received 1 or 2 or 3 people in his office lobbying for the fund. So this is why he was also not very comfortable being asked certain questions by certain individuals. Maybe But we know some lawmakers were actually lobbying for certain businesses. So you can see where the attacks are coming
But
from.
nobody lobbied for Jaoil.
Jaoil, no, it is our. Nobody lobbies for it because for us the fund was about to expire. Barely 1 week. That is when he came and called me and said, we have to take this. It's good for the country before the country loses it. Because if the country loses this opportunity, maybe the bigger ones coming will never come here. And that was it, Peter.
You also hear that Jaoil is now a front for the state to do what Yaya Jammeh used to do with certain businessmen. I mean, how do you respond to that? You're president, Bokangen business.
You asked me this question before. I remember a long time ago.
I mean, it's what you pick up on the street. You're president, Bokangen business.
Man musuma yegg loolu de waaye mais biñ ñetti yegg na waaye man musuma yegg loolu ko
nit ñaa ngi ko wax de nit ñaa ngi ko wax de
moo waaye foog naa ne suñ doon bëgg a business dañ doon bëgg a before nekkul tey dañ doon bëgg a business kan
waaye xëy na before mënut na bokk a business ak yow parce que doole yi emuñu woon
waaye doole still moom président la waaye nekkul business ba léegi
loolu foog naa waxoon nañ si last time waaye la look.
You see that answer again. As I said, Peter, as a journalist, if you are to put something to someone, make sure you, back that up. What Peter wants to say that he have not heard any, or wherever he had, can he not try and find out why would people say that? Why would people say that? As a journalist, he is invited. But you see, these are all choreographed. This is all about the positive PR for Jaoil. It's not going to sell. It's the credibility of Peter on the line. But it's not only about Jaoil. We have seen this with many ministers coming there just to get a pass. The government spokespeople coming just to get a pass. The OIC was the same thing. Well, because of you have few critical people coming to comment on your show, doesn't mean that, that's how PR works. That's how PR works. You try to make it convincing that it's a credible medium. But this interview is telling. For Jaoil to say that, why, President Labai better did, it's not true. It's the president, it's not about any businessman. This is how it works. Business people who want to grow always buy into power. To say, that's not true. We know that. We know that. And as I said, the evidence, the plausibility and even evidence are here. The First Lady, did Peter never know that the First Lady was a board member of Jaoil? Around at the same time, the Peter doesn't know about the petroleum case of shares being manipulated. At the same time that the shares were manipulated, as kickbacks were going to the president, if he didn't know about this thing, how did Jaoil event from 2018? The Gambian market is not that big, just to grow this thing without injection. Where did you have this money injected? It's not from the banks. It's not from the banks. And saying that he's doing it for the country is not true. He's a businessman. Yes, some bits to do and consider country, but main motivation is for profit, and he is cahoot with Barrow and making this profit and giving Barrow in many ways supporting his political party and giving him directly.
ñun bu ñuy door business fekk ay ndaw lañ woon yaa ngi dégg nga guroo loolu nga ñëw bi nga.
If I don't know, she said Nyun. Is he talking about Jaoil? Because not him. He's never been a businessman. He was an NIA operative. Probably saying that Jaoil was these things, but look, neka businessman, neka now fine and whatever it is, nobody living on. But Lunyawa growth be the growth between Barrow entrance in 2018. That's where we're talking about. We are not questioning whatever transfer these things. 2018, the expansion into many sectors and expanding the petroleum and everything else. It's not small money. You don't go to the bank for that. You get a partner for that.
You got everything to expand to any direction. Why, a wise person, why would you want to muddy that water? these are just speculations. Why ñun suma la waxe ñun su fekkee dañ doon defal government business yow gisoon nga fii we went through a lot of crisis na du dëgg the president ci any réew especially in the Gambia you know presidential country am nga every powers to override to block to favor why we fought those battles singularly yaa ngi dégg time boobu attaque maa ngi bëri suñ ko every time jaawel this jaawel that fekkee ne partner lañu woon kay dañu toog ne ko naa bi yoon moom sa bos la de sa gox benn ñooñu nekk di lifin léegi you can take care of it but no.
Okay. Let's go back to BADEA. So, I mean, the 50 is back out there.
Yeah.
So you are testing, you know, the will of rival businessmen, whatever. What if no individual or group of individuals, you know, should come forward?
Guys, just realized time again. And while I think we covered most all of this. But for him to say that, oh, I'm a president, I'm not the only African, that's not true. The president is not above the law. And to say the president nañu defal li mu leen koo defal he will not come out to say lii la leen defal but people know the monopoly of cement and everything else you them on this is the fact but again let them publish their company this thing audits dañ ko publish su nekkee transparency la ñoo PR let them publish it ñu xool seen growth since Barrow came to power they will not do that but su nekkee we all seen this. The same way it happened in Senegal, somewhere else. This is not only Jammeh. The same way it happened in Jawar's time. How many businesses were growing because of their proximity to government? But the minute that government them guide them to because of the source of funding. But I mean, we'll catch on to this. I mean, our time for me. It's going 4:30. Thank you very much, guys, and for listening. Thank you.